Hello, Kyle. How are you, man?
Want to say congratulations on this really great record, Infinite. I like to play on the F there, so everything sounds great
Thank
on
you.
this. Yeah, I got to wonder with with all the band's twists and turns over the years. I mean, album 20 has to be a surprise to some degree.
Hey, getting to album 4 was a surprise. Who knows why certain things stand the test of time and other things don't? It's beyond our control. We keep doing what we do, and the people out there seem to like it and want to keep it alive. So, we're fighting on the same page here, and we're having fun, and they seem to be enjoying what it is we do. Yeah. It's like a self-generating circle. We love it.
With all the lineup changes that did happen throughout the years, has it been important or even a challenge to have a consistency with the band's sound? Because I really do find there is one with this album.
The sound, the instrumental sound, is always pretty similar, and that really comes down to the fact that the guitar and the Hammond organ interact so beautifully well in hard rock and roll, and so very few bands utilize that sound. So it does become sort of defined as a Deep Purple sound. And so long as those two instruments are apparent and working together, then you're going to get that connection with what people expect it to be.
And it works so well every time.
Oh, yeah, it works all right.
I noticed the press release was saying this is the most 70s-sounding album since reforming in the 80s. Is that how you hear it, and did you go into it wanting to pull that off?
It wasn't a conscious effort, no. We've been recording the same way from day one. We record the old-fashioned way. There's 4 of us, the instrumentalists. We sit down in the studio, and we play together, and we try and get the best take we can all together. Fix the little things that need fixing, but the body of what you hear is live playing, and it's captured in the first 1, 2, or 3 takes. If it takes longer than that, you ain't going to get it. You might get it perfect, but if you've lost everybody's humanity and swing that's in it, it'll just become sterile. So everything we do is try and capture it really quickly and try and capture those moments of creation rather than trying to recreate something you thought you did 10 minutes ago. So that's exactly the way we would have to have done it back in the analog days when you didn't have the convenience of digital editing and all the rest of the stuff we take for granted now. So, we're doing it the same way. So if it has that musical similarity, it's just because it's done exactly the same way.
I mean, it's amazing, though, because a lot of bands, that fire leaves. People can't find that creativity after a long time, but here it is, still very fresh in the Deep Purple sound.
Well, it's fun. It's fun. We spend a lot of our year, every year, on the road touring. When we take time out to make a record, it allows those creative juices, the imagination of the band, to come up with new stuff. And it's fun to see where these little ideas will take you. Because once you've got a starting thread for a piece of music, it's a mystery where it's going to go. Everybody throws in their 2 cents worth, and at the end of a couple of hours, you've got something that didn't exist before you got in the studio. And that's sort of exciting. And because the influences come from everywhere, you never idea what it's going to be.
And taking on the Doors song, what brought that about? Roadhouse Blues?
On the last record, we did cover an old Jerry Lee Lewis thing, It'll Be Me. The inspiration came from Bob Ezra, and the producer said, if you did a cover, what would you do? And so the idea was we'd take something from a period of time that really switched us all on to rock and roll. It was Jerry Lee, it could have been Little Richie, it could have been anybody from that period. And Bob said, you want to do another cover? Nobody really knew what to suggest. But between Deep Purple tours, I occasionally guessed with a few tribute bands, and I'd been playing with a band, and we'd been playing, I think at Black Knight it was, and towards the end of the song, the singer went straight into Roadhouse Blues. And I noticed the effect it had on the audience and the musicians on stage, which was wonderful. Stupid grins on everybody's face and their heads bouncing up and down. So I suggested it in the studio. Well, everybody knew the song, its simplicity itself to play, And I said, look, let's invest half an hour and see what happens. And that's probably how long it took to get the words, make a little arrangement, and play it all in one take. Everything's live, vocals, solos, the harmonica, the whole thing took us, I think the take lasts about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We just kept the first 6 minutes for the album. We played it, we liked it, and said, that goes on.
I was thinking, though, with calling the album Infinite, which is a really grand statement, and then the Long Goodbye Tour, if there was a chance that this was the final piece, if Roadhouse Blues was the final piece in the Deep Purple, studio catalog or whatever, and I don't know that it is. I don't know, I know no one said anything like that. But if it is that a statement that you can end on?
Yeah, I don't think it's the last record. Yeah. I think whenever this long goodbye tour finishes, and it'll be as long as it needs to be, and for us, the longer the better. But at the end of it, we'll have a little holiday, and then we'll have a talk. And I think one of the first things that come up, well, should we make another record? So I think that's a great possibility. But we may say, well, that's the last big tour we're going to do. But do you want to do 4 or 5 weeks next year? Maybe. Or is that enough? Do you want to call it a day? That's a possibility too.
Well,
we've never used the word last because it's just too scary. I've got 50 years of my life tied up in this. I can't plan a last date, a last venue, a last town. I can't do that.
Well, I mean, if you have the word...
make the decision immediately and, and definitely.
And so I'm saying, if you have the word infinite, then there is no last. Then it's on and on
well,
and
there
on
you go.
and on and on.
It's a lovely ambiguous word. You can play around with it all day long.
I've had fun doing it. I really enjoy this record. Ian, thank you so much for taking the time today.
My pleasure, man.
All right, take care.